Hi everyone, I'm Airier, and today we're going to be looking more at Jello Apocalypse. So this is basically a series. Specifically, Legend of Zelda, Rick and Morty, and Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Out of these, I haven't seen Star. I've heard it's good. That's it. Yeah, no, it hasn't got nearly as much mention in the circles I follow around than things like She-Ra or Owl House. I haven't watched Owl House, but I've heard it's good-ish originally. I don't know. I haven't watched it. She-Ra was awesome, though. But yeah, that said, Legend of Zelda. I am obligated to like it and disagree with everything Jello says that is not complimentary of Zelda. Okay, now that I've read that disclaimer, so my wife won't murderize me. You have no idea how big of a Zelda fan she is. You do not understand. It is... She's on her 5th clear. But more importantly, you guys know the deal. There's a link below to the original video. Hit it up. And when you're done, send help, because I need to maybe enjoy a video that has some criticism about Zelda, and I may or may not survive. Yeah, I'm bringing this on myself.
The Legend of Zelda is an action-adventure game series about exploring dungeons and being murdered by chickens.
Fuck
the series
chickens,
follows
man.
the many incarnations
No, I remember
of the
them.
3 people that wield the Triforce. You play as who has the Triforce of Courage, which gives him the power to rock the dumbest hat in existence. Sometimes he's young, sometimes he's hot, sometimes he's tuned, and sometimes he's not. But he's always the Triforce of Wisdom.
No. You don't get to just sneak that in there. Oh god, you actually acknowledge it. You acknowledged this. I want to say monstrosity, but honestly, that might be too nice. Like, I could do all of the others, even the Toon ones, which I heard weren't very good for the DS, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's a niche audience, but sure, it has an audience. And then there's the Zelda Saturday morning cartoon Link face. I'm only calling it out because he's saying, "Yeah," is the only thing he says. But no, this is the one that got to speak and proved he should never speak. Oh, if you don't know what I'm talking about, oh, you are so lucky, and I am very jealous.
He's always the Triforce of Wisdom belongs to Princess Zelda. Zelda spends most of her time on vacation in a dungeon somewhere, cashing royalty checks from her successful franchise and making her pick up her laundry. Zelda doesn't have a personality.
I thought that was going to be a joke about she has wisdom, but she just keeps getting caught. But at the same time, I think Jello inadvertently made a very good point that she took the absolute best possible action for maximum reward. I mean, like, think about it. She literally just has to let Link do it. Yeah. And then be queen. I mean, there's plenty of versions of her that actually did stuff, but yeah, no. She knows when to get out of the way. Because plot. Like most characters who actually survive, that usually be the way to do it.
Except for Wind Waker, where she's a cool pirate captain.
Well,
just
also
kidding,
Ocarina of
boring
Time.
Princess mode activate. In Breath of the Wild, you can unlock her personality.
Yes.
Yup. That's what I'm focusing on in these cutscenes. The Triforce of Power belongs to Ganondorf. Ganondorf is a wizard who doesn't know what wizards are. Ganon is always the bad guy, even when he isn't.
Wait,
Sometimes he shows up
at the end of the
game to steal another villain's hard work using the darkest magic of all,
that part.
plagiarism. He
Twilight
wants to
Realm
take over Hyrule for reasons. When the Triforce is brought together,
it's the Chicken King.
Something vague magic.
Did they ever get around to whatever happens?
Day at the Triforce Club, so he has to prove himself over and over again each game, while the other 2 just get to be born with powers. Spend 80% of the game convincing the finicky goddess to give you the necessary items to defeat the bad guys, as she becomes a bigger obstacle than they are.
We don't talk about the water dungeons. We don't do that.
Oh, hey, look at that! You got the 3
And she just keeps creepier and
belt
creepier every game.
Great. Okay, now you need to order me, I'm feeling like a pizza? A hero's pizza, but it's gonna need the sacred toppings. Let's say 6 toppings.
How long ago? This is 2017. Now, I don't actually remember when Breath of the Wild came. No, it was already out because he referenced it. Were there random side quests to deliver food to people in this game? Because he's making a joke here, but at the same time, maybe not a mainline quest, but this definitely seems like something that would actually be done. It's like, hey, Link, bring me food. maybe I'm just biased from some of the older games where they had weird little side ones, but I'm pretty sure the new ones had those too. This seems like something that would actually happen.
Each from a dungeon. Maybe some pepperoni from a volcano, chives from the haunted woods, some kind of time-themed anchovies. Diamonds. Just diamonds on the 4th slice.
But it's all worth it. Get the Master Sword, the only weapon that can seal away Gamble Gork. Unless you have a bug net, or a fishing rod, or a bottle.
What?
Why did I even get this thing?
I'm sorry, what? What game did you beat him with a bottle or a fishing line? Is that... No, don't tell me... No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Don't tell me that's actually how one of the games had to end. I don't know. That's so stupid. No.
It might be tough, but in the end, Link always wins.
Except for when he doesn't.
But we don't talk about those times. The series has an overarching timeline linking all the games together, but it's really confusing and makes everything worse. So you should just ignore it.
I'm going to be honest, it doesn't really... I mean, it looks more confusing this way when it first came out, but when you get into it, it's basically, hey, here's the 3 options that could have happened. He wins, but it fails. He wins, and everything's good, and he just fails. Yeah, it's basically just a branching plotline from any choose-your-own-adventure game. It's really straightforward. There's only one real branching option. Before that, it's just going forward and backwards and everything. Also, really, Link to the Past is in the defeated one. Huh. I actually wasn't aware of that. Played Oracle of Seasons and Ages. That was fun. I really overplayed those games. They had so many cheat codes. Oh, man.
Expand your arsenal with cool weapons that you find in the dungeons.
And never use again.
Now, thanks to Breath of the Wild, they break. If you're ever low on supplies on your journey, just mow the lawn for infinite item pickups that tiny people leave for you to find in the grass.
Yeah.
Oh, where'd you get that disembodied heart, Picori?
What?
Where'd you get that? Enjoy dealing with each installment's signature annoying mechanic, like Kinstone merging, the Temple of the Ocean King, pin cables, all of Skyward Sword, and don't forget the Bad Controls minigame.
Okay. And suddenly I'm okay that most of the games I played were just on the old-fashioned Game Boy. Not even the Advance, just the Game Boy.
You don't need to beat it. You'll just never get that last heart container. Just 19 of them at the top of your screen, taunting you. Forever. Ponder over
this
each
is
game's
too realistic.
Familiar locations, characters, and races like the Zora. Have you ever wanted to kiss a fish on its
Wait for it later.
lips? Look at all these attractive fish. You can kiss this fish, or this fish, or this fish.
Yeah.
The fish abilities are end fish. And now that Breath of the Wild
there's a lot of fish. The Zora really go everywhere.
You can finally stop hearing about how every new installation of the series isn't as good as Ocarina of Time.
Is he just T-posing? He's just T-posing.
Yeah, good luck hitting me with those 19-year-old control schemes.
Oh, they actually hit him. I actually was expecting them to animate a miss.
Doesn't count.
And next up, we have Rick and Morty. And next up, we have... So this is basically Rick and Morty. I, oddly enough, only know some of the most recent spoilers about... Bird Person, and Rick may or may not have actually had a tragic backstory that is legitimately kind of fucked up and terrifying, but it's also Rick and Morty, so I'm assuming it's only as real as they want it to be in any individual episode until it's not, and considering how many options there are for who they say Rick is at the moment, yeah, no, it could be him, it could also be someone different, but it probably is him. I think also since he literally murdered all the other Ricks that he's aware of, but in a multiversal universe, that really means nothing. Yeah, I don't get this show. It's interesting, but honestly, I don't get it. I really don't. That's on me.
Rick and Morty is a show about Brick and Mortar. Brick is an amoral mad scientist and the smartest man in the universe, with enemies lurking in every corner of the galaxy.
Including himself.
And Mortar is also there. Follow their
Who may or may not
multi-dimensional
be Rick.
sci-fi
I've heard a lot of
adventures
theories about
destroying
that.
aliens, monsters, and the human code of ethics. Through their adventures, Mortar slowly learns that doing the right thing is usually the wrong thing. And though Brick might act like a selfish jerk, deep down he really does care about his grandkids, provided he stands to benefit from it and the robot replacements he built aren't working yet. Mortar's
Yeah, he very deep down, very, very deep down. Oh my God, levels of deep down. This is probably the only time did they really put a picture of BoJack Horseman in here? I think they did. It could just be a random horse, but I'm gonna go with that's BoJack Horseman. Nice.
Parents let Brick live in their garage and nearly kill their son every week because they're
only
the
every
worst.
week.
Jerry is Morty's spineless loser of a dad who gets almost as much hate from Brick as he does from the universe.
Oh, he got his spine
Wife Beth
removed.
is a horse surgeon because she keeps backing the wrong ones. Watch 2 seasons of B-plots fueled by their uncertain marital status that flips back and forth so frequently that it's probably being used to power another Brick's flux capacitor or something.
I mean, it wouldn't be the dumbest thing I've heard.
Flux capacitor. Real original there, Gene Roddenberry. What is this? What are you supposed to be, like some kind of me from another dimension or something? More or less. That's a pretty stupid bit. Yeah, you're right.
Also, I just want to point out for anyone who didn't get it, the flux capacitor, and mentioning Gene Roddenberry. Gene Roddenberry created a lot of different sci-fi universes, including, well, the big one is Star Trek, but he also did, I think it was Andromeda? No, what was it? I think it was Andromeda, yeah. And flux capacitor is the go-to thing to say, hey, I have no idea what this is, but it involves our engine in Star Trek, and it sounds really scientific. What it actually means is it just stabilizes a transition of energy, which is the equivalent of just a capacitor. A flux capacitor is basically saying capacitor twice. Am I oversimplifying this? Yes. And in universe, they've had it so long that people are actually starting to build real things around it, like science fiction did a lot for things kind of like Asimov's idea of putting machines in orbit. You know, satellites. Science fiction first. Yeah, it's one of those weird things where it's kind of a joke now, but it could easily become a real thing we actually call parts of engines if we ever discover how to affix, well, not discover how to make it, but physically make faster than light travel. Technically, that actually already exists in theory, and the math works out. It's just, it would take the equivalent of Jupiter of mass to power it once. Yeah. On the other hand, technically we could if we could consume Jupiter. Yeah. But more importantly, I just love the shout out to actual science fiction. That's such classic at this point.
Right, this is getting a little meta.
Okay, he just
all right, we're
did
moving on,
himself
everybody.
over.
Once in a while, Brick and Mortar are joined on their
show.
adventures by Mortar's older sister, Summer. Summer's a pretty cool action girl and a foil to Mortar who's pissed herself or mentioned pissing herself so many times that I'm starting to think someone on the staff is into it. Look, I'm not judging. I'm not saying it's a problem. Just...
I'm judging. It's a problem. What the hell? Yeah, let's just not go there.
Just pointing it out. The dialogue is sort of, kind of really like a casual, like a sort of an ad-lib vibe going on, which has to be really easy to bank off of when Justin Roiland is playing anywhere from 65 to 100% of the cast.
Seriously? I actually wasn't aware of that, and I'm kind of more impressed now. Because the cast did seem diverse in how they're portrayed, so if it's really just one guy going to town, even if it's just on himself, because it's usually just variations on Rick, yeah, that's actually pretty impressive. More importantly, did anyone else catch that? I mean, I did, just because I'm hyper vigilant, and by that I mean obsessively having a great time, but we're going to ignore that part. What he's doing there is like that kind of like, I don't really just putting all of the little breaks that normally in a script you cut out so you don't have them, putting them back in is the style of Rick and Morty, which actually is a huge selling point to the show because it adds a layer of realism, because this is how people talk. Not how people think or believe they talk, but it's how they actually sound, and you kind of edit it out in your own memory to make it, well, flow better. This, considering the show is so over the top, what the fuck, having that little layer of just auditory realism probably helps a lot, just making people flow into it and accept it more.
When Justin Roiland is playing anywhere from 65 to 100% of the cast.
And it's all Rick's too, right?
Memorable side characters, like the Meeseeks.
Didn't realize there was that many.
Okay, like Mr. Poopy Butthole.
Hey, that was real?
Okay, like Bird Person. All right,
oh,
fine,
he came
don't fall
back,
in love with
I
anyone.
think.
Love isn't real anyway. It's just probably some side effect of an alien pooping in your space brain. Like all good sci-fi, Rigor Mortis shines a light on the human condition by getting as far away from it as possible. Everything and everyone is the worst. All meaning is assigned arbitrarily, and nothing really matters. So you should just try to enjoy yourself. Or kill everybody. Not that those are mutually exclusive. Watch as Mortar goes from a starry-eyed child and the audience's point of reference to a jaded tag-along whose greatest adventure with Rick will be eventually murdering him. And just when you're convinced that this show is a comedy, it punches you in the gut like a ton of bricks in the last minute of an episode as all the dialogue cuts out and all you're left with is an obscure song and sadness.
The fuck? And he's doing it now, really? Are they really just going to spend an entire minute burying Rick as a flower? He's Flower Rick! Wait, he's actually... Why are they multi-headed Ricks? Oh, it's a Rick tree. Oh, it's a dying Rick tree. What the fuck? And Morty with a scar.
Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to...
Really? Really? Within 24 hours of broadcast, some fan will connect this scene to evil Morty somehow. I don't even watch the show, and I know about this conspiracy theory. How is that a thing? I literally don't get this. I don't. I mean, I haven't seen the show, which probably is why, but still, even I know about this. It's everywhere, man. People who believe this are rabid. I don't even know if they're wrong, but they're rabid. Also, I've heard rumor that it might have been a conspiracy theory, but the writers may or may not have liked it enough that they may or may not adopt it. I don't know, because it's also Rick and Morty writers. I know enough to know they might fully play into it up until they decide not to, because fuck yeah, that's funny. And honestly, I can't say that would be wrong. Yeah. And last up, we have, so this is basically Star versus the Forces of Evil. I know this show exists, but again, out of all the ones today, this is the only one I have the least knowledge of, and not by just least. I mean, other than knowing it exists and seeing a few screenshots that came up on Twitter without context or understanding, and it's just, I think the main guy whose name I don't even know with two other girls who I don't even recognize. I'm not even sure if they're the main characters or not. Yeah, that's literally the extent of my knowledge. I'm going into this more blind than usual, or also known as what most of my videos are. Seriously, I watch videos summarizing things as an idea of if I should watch something. Is that a good way to do it? No. I'm going to do it, though, because I'm just that kind of idiot. So let's jump right into it.
Star vs. the Faces of Evil is a show about Star Butterfly, a princess who fights monsters in her own short attention span. Star is from the magical dimension of Muni, and she's learning to control her powers.
Short attention span power.
She's really bad at it, so her parents outsource her to Earth so she can be someone else's problem. That someone is Marco Diaz, who gets paired with Star for being boring and safe when he's not busy being the most likable character in the show.
Local kid fearless. One witness was quoted saying, "Wow, that was the least boring of the safe things I've ever seen." Missing, have you seen? News. Paper to print stories in lines and squiggles to save ink. I mean, considering how often people actually read those at this point, this might not be a joke. I fully expect to see this done one day and no one's going to notice. Yeah. Also, why are they doing Psychology 101 on a logjammer? Why is he teaching it? This is a joke about characters, isn't it? Oh. Thanks for visiting Pacific Theme Park. Or is it Terrific Theme Park? I don't know. Honestly, though, I mean, personal opinion aside, him being a boring person as opposed to her being the really crazy ADHD, short attention span lady, I mean, makes perfect sense. I mean, from a plotting perspective, it's a very standard trope to have the funny guy, I just have them, and the straight man. And it makes sense. I prefer wise guy, or technically it's wise guy, but I just prefer funny man. It just sounds better in my opinion. And it's a good old-fashioned trope, and it is that way because it works. In universe, I have no idea if it actually sounds good, but, you know, in practice, it's just a standard definition of how most characters interact.
He's mopping up Star's messes with the short end of the stick he keeps getting. Together, they fight against Ludo, a horrible little bird man who's terrible at everything, while a series of more competent and interesting villains impatiently wait in the wings for him to die. Ludo wants to steal Star's most valuable possessions, her magic wand and her book of spells, two ancient, all-powerful
are there more competent villains waiting?
Lineage that she uses exclusively for spells inspired by late 2000s internet memes. The only bigger threat to Star's spellbook than Ludo is her own complete disinterest in it. It's like infinite spells. You get to make your own spell. How can you not be interested? Marco is joined by his two nerdy friends who are so boring that I literally don't remember their names. They exist terribly for one season before being unceremoniously replaced by Jackie and Jana, who are infinitely better in every single way. Maybe the network should have had more faith in the female leads.
How was I supposed to know female leads would perform just as well as males? Oh, and it's an old opinion, so it has a dinosaur. Okay. That actually makes sense. And it just kicked me on the back of the chair. Why is there a Disney looking at that? Oh, is this a Disney show? Oh, I didn't think it was, but maybe it is.
For their new show instead of shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, you didn't need that hand.
The supporting cast is pretty good, though.
Three eyes?
Mostly.
The fuck? Why is it the unicorn? Why is it on fire? Why is it smiling? I don't like this. Make it go away.
Good, because more characters means more potential love interests for Marco.
Seriously?
Relive all the fun of your middle school clique where every one of your gal pals ends up crushing on the same boy for a variety of reasons that make very little sense. But this time there's a fan base to fight over them. Pick your side and get mad in speculation video comments, even though it's pretty obvious which pair the show is pushing. But hey.
Oh god, it's one of those. I hate to say this. I really hate to say this, but it sounds like cartoon version of Tenchi. It literally sounds like a cartoon version of Tenchi Muyo. I wasn't entirely sure, even as I was saying, but no, the more I think about it, it basically sounds like that formula. I mean, crazy, zany lady from outer space. I mean, all one needs to be... Oh, is she a princess on top of everything else? If she is, so help me, it actually is Tenchi Muyo, but it's a cartoon. Oh god, is there just one random competent goddess hanging around and fucking everyone over because she can? If that's the case, it's not even a comparison at this point.
Hey, who cares about logic or chemistry? Team Marco X.
Why is there that horse?
Is
that a spider?
Hashtag come out on top. Behind all the hyperactivity and the shipping, what the show really wants to be is a high fantasy adventure exploring themes of racism and historical revisionism regarding humans and monsters. And maybe after 2 seasons of faffing about, it can finally do that without going back to boring slice of life episodes about how wacky macaroni is. Wackaroni!
No. Don't tell me they actually did that. Don't tell me they actually did a wacky macaroni episode. They're gonna tell me they did it. This is probably a real thing. Why does it have to be real? Like, I was actually getting interested. Like, okay, I could deal with the Tenchi Muyo formula. Ooh, high fantasy. Historical revisionism as an actual plot point. Nice. I can get this. Wacky macaroni. I don't want to believe this. This seems like one of those jokes he would only make if it actually happened. Possibly more than once. I mean, she is hyperactive and basically ADHD fodder, so that even makes sense, but still not as bad as some of the other things about characters destroying themselves.
It's been exclusively plot-driven so far, and look at that! It's all been interesting! Will the show stick to Muni's storied history, or will it tank as it focuses on tripe from season 1 that no one cares about like certain other shows keep doing? Steven Universe.
Sorry, out of all of this, I noticed that there's the previous hymn from the Rick and Morty episode down here frozen. I just find it hilarious that that's thrown in there. Oh, yeah, and the Steven Universe one is like, yeah, all the stuff we don't care about. I remember his critique about that was really disappointing. Yeah.
So it's going to be a great show as long as it doesn't go back to the bad stuff.
Did it?
Please don't go back to the bad stuff.
It went back to the bad stuff, didn't it?
Go back to the bad stuff.
I don't know what happened.
Please
I don't know.
Go back to the bad stuff.
Why? And tell me, why? What is that thing? First, the horses of evil. What is that horse? Okay, I need to ask right off the bat, what the hell is up with that horse to cause so much visible and continuous hatred on Jello's behalf? Because there's times where he makes a lot of jokes so far in the few episodes I've seen already. But this is way more. This is a significant proportion of the show is literally horse. Why? I'm actually curious. Also, if anyone has finished watching the show, I'm pretty sure I heard it ended, but I could also be completely wrong. It could be going for all I know. Let me know if it's actually one of those shows that, stayed good and didn't shoot itself in the foot with macaroni. Why? Why would that be? Why would anyone watch a show about macaroni? No, because 5-year-olds. It's really appealing to what older people think a young fan base wants. I mean, to be fair, my taste when I was that age, and by that age, I mean any time prior to 18, was usually things like, hey, Evangelion's cool. I don't understand a bit of what's going on, but I see robots and it's awesome. Did not understand the ending. Or the scene with the legs together. Yeah, didn't understand that until I was a teenager. I watched that a lot earlier than I probably should have. Yeah. It changed what I thought was going on later on. So all the same, you guys know the deal. Link below, original video, hit it up. And if you could tell me if, Star vs. the Force of Evil was actually a good show all the way through and maybe worth checking out, I kind of want to so far because it sounds like it got better, things got good, and I kind of want to see where this goes. Because again, Tenchi Muyo formula, I'm easily pleased. It works. Again, link below, hit it up. And we're done. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.